The way to believe in yourself is to do the scary thing, to teach yourself that when something is scary, you do it, you jump in, you say yes, you move forward, because otherwise you're not going to live a happy life.
Hey guys, today our guest is Evan Carmichael. Thanks Evan for coming to the show.
Thanks for the love, man. I'm liking the suit too. I like the jacket. You don't see people in a white jacket that often, so I like it.
Thank you, Evan. Evan, my first question is, what are your top 5 rules for success?
Oh, what a start. I think above all of them is belief, right? It's why I do what I do. I think the biggest problem in the world is people don't believe in themselves enough. And so you have the ability to be great at something, right? I like to say everybody's got Michael Jordan level talent at something, or Shah Rukh Khan level talent at something. But most people don't believe that. So you could have all of this skill and talent and abilities, but if you don't believe it, you're not going to go off and do anything great. So that would be, that would always be my number one rule. Number one for sure. If I had to keep going down the list, if you want 5, 2, I would say just start. So many people just don't start. You've got ideas and you don't do anything because you're trying to be perfect. Just start. 3, I would say create habits and routines that make you feel amazing. Too often we have people around us who just tell us that we're not going to do anything great, who want us to live, their version of our lives instead of our own version. So you need to fight that by having routines and influences that are positive, that push you forward. 4 is expect to suck at the beginning. Whatever you're doing, you're not going to be good at the beginning. That's okay. Your first podcast is going to suck. Your first YouTube video is going to suck. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human. I think you're great. You just don't have the skill sets yet. And so a lot of people, they make their first thing and then it sucks and they feel like, oh, I just can't do this. Like, no, you just haven't practiced enough. You haven't learned it yet. You can be great. But the problem is people expect to be great at the beginning. And then 5th, I would say, just as a constant reminder to teach yourself that you do difficult things, that if you want the secret to self-love, to self-respect, to self-confidence, it's deciding that you do difficult things, that the fact that something is scary, difficult, or hard is no longer an acceptable reason for you not to take action. You do difficult things. So there you go. 5 rules.
Thank you, Evan. Evan, I planned this interview in such a way that it reflects your theme. So next question is, what are the top 5 rules for better time management?
Ooh, time management. So I would say start with, on a macro, you have to understand that your actions have to map to your ambitions. So what do you want out of life? Like, what does an ideal life look like for you? Not just business. I think too often we will plan our business life, but not plan our personal life, and not plan our own relationships, but also our own health and what time do you need for yourself to do things. And that's where a lot of life gets out of balance. So balance is a very personal thing. My version of balance is going to be different than yours. And we judge ourselves against other people's version of balance too much. So what is your version of balance? And then making sure that it's in your calendar. So success is habits. Success is what you do every day. So you look at your week ahead and having your actions mapped to your ambitions. Your actions are in your calendar. Just hoping that you have time, right? Somebody in my live stream yesterday said, I can't find time. I never seem to have time to do it. Well, it's not in your calendar, right? If it's not in your calendar, it's never going to happen. This interview, I didn't just have time for it. It's in my calendar. I don't know how long in advance we booked this, but otherwise I'd be doing something else right now. So the things that you say are important to you aren't important until they're in your calendar. And looking at your calendar, it has to be your entire life that's in there, not just your business life. So you should be able to look at your next 7 days ahead and you should say, hey, if I got these things done, if I slept this many hours and I worked on these things and I did this for my relationships and this for myself, am I happier? Am I moving closer to hitting my goals or not? And for too many people, it's a no. Too many people barely even pay attention. They're just responding to other people's emergencies and demands for their time instead of actually living your own life. So I don't know how many rules were inside of that, but that's what I would do for time management.
Thank you, Evan. Evan, what are your tips for starting a YouTube channel?
I think the biggest thing is just start. Back to one of my rules, just start. Expect to suck and start were two of my rules. When I started my YouTube channel, it took me 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers. 5 years, 7,000 subscribers. And then 5 years to go from 7,000 to 2 million. So a lot of people, they just don't start. They just don't do it enough. You have great ideas, but you're judging yourself. You're judging what the perfect start is. You're judging whether you have the perfect microphone or perfect camera. I'll still make videos from my cell phone. If I'm traveling, I'll still make videos talking into my cell phone. And I've got 2 million subscribers on my channel. And a lot of people don't start because they see your microphone. They say, well, I can't start until I get a microphone like him or a microphone like this or a special camera. Just start. Stop trying to be perfect. Nobody's watching your video anyway. Just start.
Even what are your tips for starting from scratch, like in anything?
I mean, similar to the YouTube advice, just more generic. That idea that you have, find a way to get started on it right now. Trust your ideas. Trust that if you got this idea, it came to you for a reason. It's a great idea. You have to do something about it. Coming up with ideas and then writing down, in your notebook or email or whatever, your list of ideas, you're never going to attack that list of ideas. Your list of ideas is just going to build and build and build and build and build and grow. How do you attack it? By doing. So what you need to do is when you get an idea, most people, what they'll do is they'll make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The idea, like I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Oh, and then from that, I can have big guests come on my show. And then from that, I can then build a huge email list. And then from that, I can run my own conferences. And from that, I can do, and then you make this some giant thing. But the bigger it is, the more impossible it is to start. Now you need a team. Now you need financing. Now you need all the skills and training that you don't have. And they go, I can't do that. Instead, you switch and just say, what can I do right now? So whether you want to start a YouTube channel or make a song or write a book or create a podcast or whatever idea you have, start by just starting right now. Don't worry about the perfect first step, because in trying to be perfect and come up with that perfect first step, you're doing the biggest sin of all, which is not doing anything.
Evan, how to believe in oneself?
By doing difficult things, right? By taking on the challenges, right? So even doing this interview, right? Maybe you were nervous to ask, or maybe I don't even remember how we got connected initially, but a lot of people get an idea to do something and then they teach themselves that that's too scary. I can't do that. And they don't do it. So and we do that all the time. So there may be somebody else that you want to book and you say, well, I can't go ask that person. What you're doing, and not just, you, but people listening, what people are doing is you come with an idea, you tell yourself that you can't do it because you're too scared. You don't believe in yourself enough. And then you're reinforcing that belief. So now the next difficult thing comes along. What you've done is taught yourself that you can't do it. And so then you don't do it. So you just become this idea machine and never taking action. The way to believe in yourself is to do the scary thing, to teach yourself that when something is scary, you do it, you jump in, you say yes, you move forward, because otherwise you're not going to live a happy life. You're going to know you're capable of doing bigger things, but never believe in yourself to do it. And so you just photocopy the same day over and over and over again and hate your life. And that's unfortunately where most of the world is.
Evan, what are the top 3 lessons that you learned this year?
Constantly still believing in myself more. It's still the ongoing battle is I can believe in myself for what I've done now, but the next step, every big breakthrough that I've learned has been through breaking through another level of belief, by taking on the next difficult thing that I didn't think I was capable of doing. One. So 2, on a personal side, I've also been standing up straight more. So I've been working on my posture. It's done wonders. I used to have crazy back pain, but now, so I have a stand-up desk. I'm standing on the trampoline so I can bounce all day. But instead of normally be working like this, like I'd be leaning over a lot, and now I stand straight with my back, and it's just saved a lot. And then maybe on the relationship side, I've spent a lot of time so far this year trying to figure out with my wife, how do we inject more fun into our morning routine so that we don't just wake up and go get to work, but how can we spend time having fun? So we'll go for a walk together with the dogs. We'll dance a salsa song together. And And so we do some activities every morning so that it connects us to each other as well, instead of just getting right to work.
Even how to deal with failures.
Expect it, right? Like I just expect to fail, expect to suck, expect to fail. If you are not failing, it means you're only doing things that you know how to do, right? And if you're only doing things that you know how to do, you're going to hate your life. You're going to get bored. So expect failure. Again, this is the difference between when I said before, expect to suck. It doesn't mean you suck as a human. Same thing with failure. It doesn't mean that you as a human are a failure. It just means that you failed at this thing because you don't have the knowledge or the skill set or XYZ to get there. So how do you do that? Well, you practice, you get better, you increase your skills. So failure is an expected outcome. Most days I fail way more than I win. That means you're growing and learning and getting better.
Evan, what are your top 3 rules for becoming a healthy human being?
I think number 1 is something people don't talk about, which is actually loving what you do. You know, when I broke my neck last year on my tour, I stayed on the tour because talking to entrepreneurs is healing. Because me just lying in bed all day is not going to help me as much as feeling like what I do matters. So your happiness, I think, is really a big unlock to healing. If you're stressed out and angry and upset and you know, in a really toxic mindset, I don't think it matters as much what food you eat and how much you exercise. I think you're still going to get sick because your mindset is sick. But if you're happy and energetic and loving and optimistic, and you feel like the work you do matters, I think that actually creates inside you a way for your body to heal itself. So I think that's the number 1 thing that most people ignore, is actually doing work that is of service, that you love doing, and create the environment inside you to heal.
And what should one remember after achieving success?
What is success? Like, I think it's just hitting success is a habit. Success is how you showed up today. So for me, success is, did I put my best effort in? Right? So as an example, today, all day, I'm just doing interviews, right? I had like 4 before you and another 6 after you. And my goal today is to create an interview that I'm going to be proud to show my grandkids, right? I want my grandkids, hey grandkids listening, like I want this interview to be the one that I gave my best to and that my grandkids are going to listen to. That is success. At the end of the day, it's me saying I'm proud of myself for what I did, not hitting some goal. So learning to tie yourself, like, what is success? Hitting 2 million subscribers, you know, I didn't even want to celebrate. I didn't even care, because the success for me isn't hitting the 1 million subscribers. Success for me is showing up today and having an impact. And so that's what I celebrate and pat myself on the back for every day, more than did I get a certain result.
Evan, what are the top 3 rules for becoming rich?
So first off, you have to define what rich is. If you're going to talk about just making money versus richness in life, right? So like, what is your definition of rich is what you want to start to get clear on. And if you're talking about just in terms of financial success, then recognize that it's probably not going to happen working for somebody else. The most financially rich people in the world, they got it either from inheriting money. So if you have a really rich family, great, congratulations. Otherwise, you have to go make it on your own. But self-made people, entrepreneurs are the people who then go off and create massive financial wealth. And that comes down to number 3, which would just be, how can you bring value to people? So having financial success comes down to giving somebody a solution to a problem. You're bringing them value. Instead of just thinking about you, I want to get rich, think about, how can I help solve problems for people? What are they going through? What are they struggling with? How big a problem is it? If it's a big problem for somebody and you can solve it, they're going to pay you to solve it. So that's the business you want to think in. It's about providing value to other people.
Evan, why do you keep a large bag of Doritos in front of you?
Yeah, so let me bring them up here. I got my Doritos. This is a giant bag. It looks small, but like, this is like twice the size of my head. I have a strategy called Damn the Doritos. So people ask me, am I sponsored by Doritos? And no, I want to eat this bag all day long. You know, I look at it, my mouth is watering. It just looks so, it's a nacho cheese. My mouth is watering so much looking at this bag. But I don't because I want to stay healthy, and and part of that is, yes, the happiness and the mindset and optimism, but also eating well. And the common advice when you're on a diet is get rid of the junk food from the house. I think you're actually telling yourself that you suck, that you're not capable of being around it. And then what happens when you go to a party, when you go to a vacation, when you go anywhere outside your perfect bubble, you're going to eat everything because you've trained yourself that you're not strong enough. I hate that. I want to train myself every day to get stronger. And so I want to eat Doritos every day. And my mouth waters like crazy. And just looking at the bag reminds me that I'm amazing, that I'm not going to eat the Doritos, that I'm stronger than the Doritos. So my strategy is called Damn the Doritos. So I can have it hanging out. I can have it right in front of me, and it doesn't reduce my willpower. And so it's a reminder to myself every day that I'm awesome.
Evan, how to deal with bullies?
So I guess it depends on the context. Like, can you know, if you're forced to be around them. So I go two places. I go to like physical bullies, and then online bullies are people in different settings. So physical bullies, if you're forced to be around them, like at school and you have to be around them, then usually it's just ignoring them. Usually it's just, they're going to get their high by going and pick on somebody else. The more you react, that's what they're doing. They're looking to get off on your reaction. Have empathy for them, right? I feel bad for them. I think humans are good. I think we're good. Nobody, like a tiny percentage of people enjoys killing somebody else, right? For the most part, we're good. So why would somebody who's a good person do so much bad and negative things like bullying? Well, because they're really struggling. Like if you go back and look at their life, they're probably not living a great life. You go back and look at their home, their parents probably don't love them. There might be abuse, definitely mental abuse happening at home. So that person I would expect to lash out. So if you can avoid being around that person, like if it's at a job and you can avoid being around that person, great, go get another job. But if you can't, then you just ignore them as much as possible. For online, where it's no physical threat, then I lean heavy into the empathy. It's just, this person hates their life. This person is really, like, think about it. If you're going to make a video and post it on YouTube, and somebody is going to come and leave a negative comment to say, I hate white blazers, that's stupid, or like whatever they're going to say, like the highlight of their day, the best part of their day is coming to your video and leaving some nasty comment. How bad does their whole life have to be that's how they get pleasure, right? So that immediately removes the sting of the words, because you know that they're really in pain. I see it as a baby in a diaper. You expect the baby to poop themselves because they're a baby. You wouldn't expect an adult to poop themselves, but you would for a baby. These guys are babies, so you have to expect them to poop themselves because they're in a lot of pain. And so that removes the sting of the words. It's never fun getting it, but if you can switch it to not be about you, but to feel bad for them, it doesn't hurt nearly as much.
Thank you, Evan. Now we have questions from subscribers. Michael is asking how to maintain a work-life balance.
Understanding what does balance look like for you, right? Back to a previous question. What does balance look like for you? And then put it into your calendar. So it'll also evolve and change. Like where you are right now won't be the same spot in 6 months. And won't be the same spot in a year. My schedule will look different 1 year from today. There'll be still some similar elements, but it's not going to be completely the same. So one is having the flexibility to change your calendar. But two is putting your whole life in there, not just your business. If you have an important meeting like this, was probably in your calendar to say, hey, I don't know what time it is for you, but it's 12:30 for me. I'm talking to you. We're doing this interview. But maybe your morning routine wasn't put in there. Maybe, meditation is important to you, but did you put that in your calendar, right? If it's not in your calendar, it may not happen. And so you need to treat showing up for yourself as important as showing up for other people. If meditation is important to you, then that's got to be in your morning routine, and you have to do it just like you would show up for this, right? I'm not going to show up here like, hey, nobody's here. Where'd he go? He's not here, right? But we do that to ourselves a lot. We don't show up for ourselves. We're not consistent with ourselves for our routine. So treating it as important as you would a business meeting in your calendar.
Last question, Evan. Would you like to issue a 7-day challenge to our subscribers?
The 7-day challenge I would put out is to make yourself proud today. Like, what do you need to do to make yourself proud today? That you're proud of you, that it's not your mom proud of you or your friends saying you're doing great things. What do you need to do for the next 7 days, every night, that if you had to ask yourself out of a scale of 10, how proud am I of myself? That you're getting at least an 8.5. What do you need to do today to get an 8.5? And for everybody, that's different. For everybody, it might be reach out to somebody and ask them to be a guest on my show. It might be post my first YouTube video. It might be ask that girl out. It might be write a letter to my mom. Like, there's so many different ways. But the thing that matters most for long-term happiness is that you are proud and love yourself. And this is where it comes from. So 7-day challenge, get at least an 8.5 out of 10 for yourself, making yourself proud.
Thank you, Evan. And before we go, I just want to say how I got benefited from your work. And you have made a series called Never Get Sick Again. And in that you featured Wim Hof, Bruce Lipton. And from that onwards, my health journey has started. And now I have lost more than 60 pounds till now. And,
nice.
And it was like a landmark point in my journey. So I'm very, very grateful to you, Evan.
Cool, man. I mean, that changed my life too. A lot of the videos I make are for me, and then I share it with the audience. And just knowing that, whatever you went through, there's other people now who are also struggling to do it. And now you can be the voice for them and help them get there.
Thank you, Evan, for coming to the show. It was a pleasure to talking with you.
No problem. Thank you for the love. If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.